What's up, everybody? It's your favorite last pterodactyl's favorite nerd. I think this is the last swoop to look at. So we're starting to come down the home stretch. Unless Takara does one. Outside of that, I think this is the last one. This is the G Creations one, or whatever they call themselves. HZTC, something Creations. Doesn't matter. His name is Blade, and he's got issues. He's also got some cool stuff going on. He's huge. I don't remember the rest of them being as big as he is, with the exception of Grimlock, but he is huge. We're going to do some size comparisons straight away, just because I am taken back by how big he is. There he is with MP Grimlock, and he's in a wide A stance, and Grimlock isn't. I feel like they're in scale. Now, you can make the argument, of course, that Grimlock is too small for Masterpiece, and I won't argue that. I'm just saying that whatever scale this MP Grimlock is in, I think it's too big for classics. Do you know what I mean? I don't know, buddy. I don't know what this is, but he seems huge. Not a bad thing, just pointing it out. Now, he holds his S word, shout out to Sean Connery, just fine. Nice silver finish on him, nice red finish on him. Very sharp looking accessories, and they look great. So no, not a single complaint there. I think this is a fantastic looking sword. Same on the other side. He also comes with two of these guns, which plug in a square connection, and it's a tight fit because probably allotment for the chrome. It's black plastic, or like a dark grayish, brownish plastic here. This bit flips down. Easy for me to say. This is on loan to me from Joe KW, aka Dolphin, if you're a Nerd Rage fan. And we got the gold and red paint at the tip, so to speak, and it looks beautiful. Does he hold it, you ask? Ooh. Not really. No. No. No, he does not. Let's try the other side. No, not really. So that's unfortunate. But he does come with a second one, and they do plug into the wings just fine. He's got a lot of issues standing. We'll talk about that. He comes with a bag of bits. They're not open, so I'm not going to open them. It's mainly, I'm guessing, for the combiner mode. The hand looks great, individual fingers. I think this is the first hand we've seen. It looks like they went like the Predaking style. So that's good. And then the combiner sword. Now, I'm not going to get Feral Rex down, but I'm standing next to him now, and the blade is just as long as Feral Rex's blade. So that's going to give you an idea of about how big that's going to be. Translucent red with the plastic at the end, and you got little engravings and stuff here, which all look good. The head is on a ball joint. You get limited up, you get good down, and the swivel works, but you kind of got to maneuver it around pieces in order to get it. But it does work. It's got the red chrome metallic, I shouldn't say chrome, it's more like a red metallic finish, and it looks great. The red metallic finish is intermittent throughout, so we got it here, 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 but not there, there, there. So it is a bit off-putting. It's not terrible, but it is a little weird. We have this pterodactyl beak. You can get it out of the way. It is the clear with the gold through. That is the design choice they've always gone with, so we should expect it by now. It looks like it should be a place to plug in, but it's not. But it does move out of the way to get a ratcheted waist swivel, which will come in handy for combine mode. And it does destroy the sculpt a bit, if you can see. But if you just do it, which I think is more anatomically appropriate, it doesn't bother me in the least. We got a gray paint with a chip, and there's a smudge on this chrome wing also. There are some paint inconsistencies on this thing, but they are few. Right there, otherwise it's alright. For the shoulder assembly, we have a double jointed hinge inside, which can get the shoulder all the way down to there, or up to there. Then you have an additional hinge at the top of the double joint, which can get you up to there, but you got to bring it down a bit. So I think that is okay. You can freak it, so to speak, in order to get it to work. Bicep swivel, and paint-wise, we only have that silver bit there, but I think it breaks it up enough. 90-degree angle, pretty much. It's a little shy, but we'll give it to him. Blue and silver paint there. That looks good. Hand is on a swivel. Fingers are molded into a 5mm port. If it weren't, he probably could hold his gun. I think that's a little weird, especially for this day and age. I think we've moved past that. But whatever. That's the decision that they chose to go with. These joints are tight, too. Which isn't bad. I'm not that guy that hates overly tight joints. I'm just telling you so you can be mindful. Universal joints for hips. Non-ratcheted, which is a bummer. But they go out to here. Up to there. So articulation is pretty much perfect for the hips. Thigh swivel, ratcheted knee, and it's a single hinge, but it gets you the full Monty, baby. And then we got red paint there and gray paint, which is a little touch and go, but for the most part, it's fine. Gray paint on there as well, which looks pretty good. The gold paint looks fantastic. Moving down to the foot, it all comes down to a ball peg, which is weird. And then we have a toe hinge, and which I guess is acting as a tilt, so it's kind of a cheat, but it still works technically. And then the ankle rocker on that ball peg that gets you to there, which is okay. And then this can move, but you don't really need it to for this. Back of the figure cleans up fairly well. In the box, he comes with this down. I think obviously it's a bit more sightly to have it up, unless of course that's your thing. And if so, I'm not judging. I'm just saying it's not mine. Otherwise, looks pretty good. One thing I want to say before we move on that I forgot to mention is he has a significant hard time standing. I don't know if I've been able to get him to stand. Let me see if I can't. There. But look how I had to have his feet in order to do that. He's very back heavy. And there's not a lot of a heel spur, so it's an issue. I'm pointing it out. You know it now. Real quick before we get started, you can plug the giant sword on his back, and he can carry it not really up and down because of the tail, but to the side. But trust me, the last thing you want is more back weight on this guy. So, but it is possible. These wings, they slide up and down. It's a tight tolerance. I wasn't comfortable pushing it, so mine aren't in there fully secured. But just pointing that out. And I tell you what, let's go ahead and start with our favorite thing in the world, which is tucking in the hands into the forearm. I know. It fascinates me every time. There they go. Collapse the forearms. Open up these chest pieces. They're hard to get to. There's one. Open that up. And I might need to use a tool. There's the other. Open that up. Connect the pterodactyl head just like every other Snoop ever. Swoop. It's not like he's doggy dog. And then bring this whole assembly up. This part sucks, but you got to get these tabs into there, and it just feels all sorts of wrong. And it does not give you the warm and fuzzies whatsoever. I might have to do it off camera. There it is. There's one. Let's see if I can't do what I did there. I have it angled down. There. So that it looks like this. And then you bring these hinges around so that that tab goes into that hole there. But you got to make sure that you're in all the way. Let's see if we can't get it on this one. You might have to adjust this hinge. There. Adjust this hinge. I'll get this one off camera. The legs in comparison are much simpler. Tuck that bit in, tuck this bit in, rotate these up and tab them back in. Untab these bird feet, and then you can actually tab this stuff together, I've found, right away. Tuck your bird tail in to keep it safe. There's your combiner system underneath there. And rotate the back legs up so that all this stuff clips into the back, like mainly this here into there. And it's just finding that right angle, which isn't too hard to find, but you gotta sort it. And there it is. Make sure that this is all as straight as it can be. And then you want to collapse the bird head back. And these feet here, like, you can do a lot of stuff with them. I'm not sure what is the right way, but depending on how you kind of feel, you can angle them or turn them around or whatever you want, but I think that's pretty much it. And then you just put your wings back in. And we'll get them cleaned up and take a look. Alright, so he's huge. We'll take a look. Wings, we got a hinge here, an outward hinge there, a hinge here, and I'll tell you the chrome against chrome doesn't sound good there. A hinge here and a hinge there. So one, two, three, four vertical hinges and one outward hinge. They are impressive though. It's an impressive wingspan. The head, we got all those neck joints, but mainly you can use this hinge here and then this hinge there, and then you have a jaw hinge that opens and closes, and so forth. This is a tight joint though, probably once again because of the chrome. So be careful, because this plastic bit has a tendency to come off as you're trying to articulate just the beak. So just be mindful. And then for the legs, we just have like a hip joint here, and then a knee, all hinge, and then a toe hinge. So not terrible. He's impressive in this mode. It's not my favorite design choice, but size-wise, he is impressive. I'll get Fans Toy Store and we'll compare those. Here's this guy over top, so a much more of a large wingspan on the G Creations one. So he's a big fella. Yeah, but I'm almost worried if he's a little too big, but better or worse, he's big. To go to a combine mode, we're going to take off the wings, but before we do, there is like a little gun up in here. I'm sure it's on, I can see that it's on that same hinge, so I'm sure it articulates down, but you have to get up in there with something tight in order to get the leverage on it, and I don't want to scratch Dolphin's chrome. So let's get the wings off and get started. Bring the legs back to robot mode, so untap them from the back. Bring them down. As you do, you want to tab this back in. There's a tab there that goes into that slot. Same for the other side. Like that. You want to bring this head down and around the best you can, and then this part here flips up. Now I'm sure that there's a, like that. That looks good, so that it's nice and flush. And then split the legs, open these pieces here, and rotate them. I don't know what to do with this tail, we'll just get it out of the way for now. Rotate them back around to here. Same for the other side. Tab these in. There. And then lastly, there's a little button right here. Push that down and extend the body until you hear the click. And that means you got it all the way. And then I'm not going to hook up the hand and all that kind of stuff, but just to give you an idea of the arm and the transformation of how to do it. Final thoughts wise, downsides, there's some really tight moving joints. It makes the transformation more difficult than it actually is. It makes posing them more difficult than it should be. It might make the combiner harder to move, but I will say the combiner parts did move fairly well. It was just the robot and dinosaur bits. The big problem for me with this guy is that I wish that there was a heel spur because he has a hard time standing, and I wish that everything moved better. And that's really my only complaints. I don't really have any other complaints with this guy, except I need another swoop. Like I need a, if you know what I'm saying. But all in all, a couple other things, like I wish that the reds, you know, there was more chrome or less chrome. Like I think this hodgepodge of mix between, you know, chrome and non-chrome is just a little weird. But I mean, the articulation is pretty much good to go. The aesthetic is cool. Like it matches the other bots. I hope that the size matches. For some reason, he seems huge to me, but the other ones were bigger to me than I initially suspected. Also, it's just been a while since I've handled one of them. I know that the Grimlock was MP size pretty much, so maybe even bigger. So the size is probably right. It's just me and my distance from the line to kind of continue. But the paint is great. And the articulation is good to go. Everything is fine if you like the design or you want your Dinobots to combine. We'll see how that turns out, of course. But everything seems to be on track so far, so good. It's a very modern, updated look for the Dinobot line. I'm just not sure, ultimately, scale-wise. I'm going to say it's a chuggish piece, but it just seems a little big for that. Maybe it's like the Gigapower, the Masterpiece, where it just seems maybe a little too big, but is arguably correct at the same time. So we'll go with that for now. Hopefully I'll get the chance to look at Slag, and then hopefully I'll get the chance to look at the team combined. But until then, thanks for listening, thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.